Okay, so this next person is super freaking cool.
She's really amazing.
She really is amazing. So this is Brooke Siem. Brooke's going to teach a little bit about some body weight exercises and some stuff going on with that. But Brooke is into physical things. She used to be a dancer and she lifted weights and does all this body weight stuff, very cool stuff. But Brooke is like way more than that. First of all, she's just an awesome human being. She's just a super nice person. She won the TV show Chopped as a chef a few years ago. So if you recognize her, that's probably where it's from. She's done a lot for mental health awareness for people, and she's become quite a writer in the things she does. She also spent time traveling the entire globe. She put together this whole thing, I think she called it the Grandmother Project, where she went and cooked and with these ladies and kind of absorbed this tradition from like different countries all around the world. She's just super freaking cool. And this is also take away a little bit from the ogre sort of situation that all the rest of these guys are. Not that David and Chris and Andrew aren't pretty, but the rest of us are not exactly. So for the general public viewing situation, this will be a lot better. So we're just going to talk to you about that.
Hi everyone, my name is Brooke Siem. I'm so happy to be here today, and thank you so much to Bud for putting this all together. I've known Bud for a few years now. We did interviews for Barben way back in the day, and I've always loved watching him and his crazy feats, and I'm so glad that we are able to get together and do a little bit of fundraising for Noah's Army. So, like I said, my name is Brooke. I am a chef, I'm a writer, and I'm also a movement coach. And so today what I'm going to do is I won't be cooking or I won't be writing, even though Bud's favorite trivia about me is that I'm a Food Network Chop champion. But we're not doing a cooking show today. Instead, I'm going to do a basic tutorial on just how to handstand properly, because whenever I coach movement, I find that a lot of people really struggle with the very, very basic blocks of being in a handstand. And so I'm just going to go over the very basics of it, and obviously it takes a lot of practice and a lifetime to learn. So the first thing that I want to go over, and one of the biggest things that I realize people always do wrong, is that they don't know where to look. So very often I'll see people go up into a handstand and they'll like tuck their chin. They'll almost try and look up at the ceiling when they're upside down. But what happens in that point is we have no frame of reference. We don't know where we are in the world, and we don't have any way to stay steady. So if you ever think about balancing, if you're looking all around and you try and balance, you're going to fall over. Whenever we balance, we want to look straight ahead at one place directly on the wall, and that is going to help us stay steady and orient ourselves. So the same thing is true when we're upside down. So what we're going to do is we're going to place our hands on the floor or near the wall, wherever you're going, and our gaze, where we're looking with our eyes, should be on the floor. I usually like to have people look right about in between their thumbs. That provides a really nice, steady base. So from the very beginning, from the very kick-up, when we have our hands on the floor, we want to stay at one point on the ground the entire time. Our eyes should never leave that one space, because if they don't leave, we can move our feet around, do whatever we're going to do, but we're going to have a nice, steady base. So that's the first tip. Keep your eyes on the ground. Second tip, keep our hands shoulder width apart. So if we have our arms all the way out to the side or really narrow, it's going to make it really hard for our body to be aligned. So when we put our hands on the ground, we want our shoulders to be right above our wrists in a nice straight line. So everything from our shoulders to our wrists is stacked. If we're out here, we can't stack. If we're in here, we can't stack. Same thing goes with our hands. We want them just barely slightly turned out, shoulders locked in place, elbows facing forward, pushing through the floor with as much force as we can get it. And when we do that, we have a nice strong foundation. Tip number 3, point your toes. So often people forget about the lower half of their body whenever they're trying to go upside down. But you know, we've got our butt here, and that is where so much of our weight lives. And so if our butt isn't tight and it's moving all around and our legs are flailing all over the place, well then, we're really likely to fall over. So when we're upside down, we need to stay nice and tight. We need to squeeze our butt, and we need to think of being in a complete straight line from the gotta stay tight. We push through our hands, look at the floor, keep our hands shoulder width apart. If you do those 3 tips, your handstands are gonna start to get a lot better.
And Brooke just taught some really cool stuff. And listen, thank you so much, Brooke, for just being an awesome